everyone, welcome to All Four Queens. Oh, my eyebrows are a bit all over the place. Hope you're doing all well and you're enjoying the day. So I was sitting in reflection today. Just for those that don't know my channel, I don't know if anyone will see it anyway, apart from the people that are trying to clone it and control what I do and what I say. But it's a spiritual channel, focus on spiritual warfare, and obviously a lot of us are in the eye of the storm at the minute because obviously there's a lot of energy going back that was put out. We're in the year of infinity, so 2024. Everything that was done is now going back. Some people missed the memo in 2023 and 2022 and continue to throw out stuff. Also Saturn return, obviously, as you know, some people continue to do stuff in Saturn return, which was probably a bit daft really, which is why I say a lot of things about mindfulness. Obviously if you want to know more about me, read the bio. I probably will update that now anyway, because what I started the channel to be is something completely different. And obviously, you know, when you wake up it's all bliss, and then all of a sudden you hit the eye of the storm and there's a load of stuff that comes at you all in one go. So why am I on here today? So what I wanted to talk about today was quite a few things really that have come through, but I'll do some of the other stuff separately. I mean, this is more about a recap, because if you look at some of the stuff that I posted in terms of the things that I went through, and I think what I found interesting, well, you know, it's not probably interesting, but what I find quite interesting is the pattern is the same for everybody who is on the journey of enlightenment. And when I'm going to talk about God in future, I'm going to say God of light, because my belief in God is of the light. Now, I'm not saying that other people don't think of that, but obviously what I've learnt on this journey is God has a very big, wide berth, and it's been created in some cases by man. But obviously, you know, everyone to their own, but mine obviously is of God, and I have got something to sort of add to that, but probably not on this one. Something that I figured out on this journey as well, and obviously if I can help other people, then obviously I'll share it. So that's the purpose of the channel. So one of the things that I wanted to sort of like raise was the things where what I've noticed on the spiritual warfare, your enemies. I mean, and I say the word enemies, I mean, I didn't know I had enemies until I entered into the eye of the storm. And in some cases in the past you don't see them, but in this time you do, because one, you elevate, you ascending higher. There is no veil, and there never was. People's Akashic records will hold everything they've ever done anyway, so where they think the secrets, there isn't. And as you meditate and ascend and ask the right questions, you will get the answers. But we already have the answers in our higher selves anyway. It's just basically downloading them and bringing them back to yourself. So a lot of the stuff that you've always thought was true, but you probably got gaslit or manipulated, or there was a lot of deception to try and manipulate the way that you saw something. You probably, what you saw was true, but obviously it was designed so that you didn't believe in yourself. When you ascend, obviously you believe in yourself. I mean, I always say to clients and things like that is the only opinion that matters in your life is yours. And a lot of people, what you find when you're in your karmic state, and I say karmic as in you're still learning lessons, when you're going through that phase of your life in your south node, you tend to find that you do ask a lot of people for their opinion. Now, sometimes in those times when people are very easily manipulated, you tend to take their advice, but sometimes their advice isn't necessarily for your best interests. It's usually for theirs. So my advice, and you know, obviously you do what you want with it, but my advice is, you know, trust in your own discernment and your own intuition and strengthen that, because your own opinion is on your life is yours. You know, it's your life. We only get one, and the journey is your journey. No one knows what you've experienced. No one knows what you've gone through to get where you are, and the challenges that have been placed on your path because they're part of your past life. You know, no one knows that, and no one has walked in your shoes, so the only opinion is yours, and that means trusting yourself and your guides and everything else that you've got in your collective. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was why is it so, I mean, you'll see it on some of the other things as well, that when people are in like this frantic and anxious state, and I can feel it because obviously I feel energy as well, and you have to cleanse quite a bit. When people are in an anxious state, it doesn't matter how many times you give them an opportunity to come clean and be true, they still try and throw you under the bus with this whole narrative about mental health, just because you've awakened and you see the BS that everyone's been doing and all the lies and all the deception and all the manipulation. Now I understand that that means it comes with some anxiety on their part, because they now have to deal with the judgment that's been passed on them because of the choices that they made. But that doesn't mean that the person who was awakened should be branded mentally ill because they've awakened and they can see what people have been doing. I think that is a very weird approach. I also question the persons who's saying it, because obviously if you're trying to cover up illegal activities, then one would question why you are doing that and using the system irresponsibly to your own gain. So that don't make sense. But what I will say is I did have a conversation with someone and we talked about it, and I did say I was the camera had recorded it, and it was very clear on there that they agree that I don't have mental health and the authorities agree that I don't have mental health. So I think that whoever keeps trying to force that narrative, it's a bit old and washed out now. Me personally, your battle isn't with me. Your battle is with all the stuff that you've done in your Akashic records that's now your energy coming back to you, and it's called karma, because you chose not to do the right thing. You chose to keep going on and going on and going on, and now all that energy that you put out because that was what you wanted to do and that was your choices. And don't forget, we all have choices, we just don't have choices over the consequences when they come back. And so now the energy's coming back to you, so now everyone's running frantic and they want to project and blame everybody else and try and make everybody else to look like they're, I don't know, I don't understand it, because it's your energy. So I don't understand why you're projecting at me or the collective, because it's the energy you chose to put out over many years, and you chose to sit on secrets over many years. So the fight you've got is your own energy plus the divine, because it's karmic justice and karmic judgment. So, and that obviously, if you think about tarot, you get a justice card and you get a judgment card. Now for those that are not aware, it's as above so below. So what happens in the spiritual realm is what trickles down into and manifests into the physical realm. Now not everything does, but I would say that this one has particularly. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at some of my earlier ones, people took it upon themselves to go above and beyond and bring things into the physical realm, which obviously annoyed the spiritual realm, because like I say, the battle isn't with me. And when you bring it into the physical realm, like putting dirt around someone's house and using vibration technology, because I can feel the vibration on the floor, and then throwing out like negative energy and paying practitioners to do spell work and all that sort of stuff, and I feel it and I know it's happening, because I know, I'm ascended, no different from what you know. I know what you see, I see. Just the difference is I don't do what you do, because I operate in the light and I only work for healing and clarity, and I use my gifts for the positive, whereas in the dark, my understanding is you use it for the dark, for the negative, which obviously is to harm and hurt and hit and kill and steal and hurt people and do all that sort of stuff, which obviously I'm not a fay with. But so that's one of the things that I just wanted to put out there, because it's the things that are not seen. So it's like, and we're living in a world where everything is usually in the physical. You have to have evidence, you have to have this, you have to have that. But how do you police the spiritual? Because as we move more into the Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, we do need to be more mindful of the spiritual aspects of what people do. Because as I said before, if you read some of the earlier ones and how people make their money and things like that, and I'm not saying anything people don't know. The only difference is I'm saying it, and if you don't like it, well then click off. You're not ready to hear it. But for most of us, I think it's quite clear that not everything is cut and dry, and people do things in a corrupt way to make money, which is not the right way to do it. And I'm putting it out there. And if that makes, and by speaking the truth, and I've said it on the previous one, we live in a world, remember, love not the world, that seems to be more accepting of lies, deception and manipulation over the truth. The truth gets attacked because it is the truth. The truth doesn't need to lie. I don't have to remember the truth, but you have to remember lies. And I think that's why people try and do things which are very untoward in terms of manipulating systems, paying people in systems, which obviously, as we've seen in the Hollywood scenario, those connections are breaking down because there are good people out there who are seeing the world for what it is, and all this manipulation and dark clouds and putting, domination magic on people and doing all that sort of stuff to block the third eye, it's all being removed, because as people elevate, they can start to see things for themselves, and you can't control everyone who's elevated, because that's what we're supposed to be anyway. So for me, for those that are on the journey and have suffered, well, I wouldn't say suffered, but endured what I've endured, to try and force me into a position that obviously somebody else wants, just be aware that there are all, we're all in the same boat, and just stay connected with your ancestors and with the spiritual realm, because obviously they've got it. And if you look at the other one that I said, there was two that I said: do not test the Lord, i.e. the Lord of the light, creator of all, Omega and Alpha. And the other one was, he's got the whole world in his hands. Now, I think a lot of people, because when I did post some of them, there were some sort of quite arrogant people, and I will say the word arrogant because you've judged me, and I will say the word arrogant. Actually, I will say arrogant or ignorant, I'm not quite sure, who I heard sitting there giggling, laughing and having a good old joke about all the things I was posting. Even though you want to nick my content, you still was giggling and laughing about it. But now I ask the question, are you still laughing? I'll give you a minute on that one. No, I didn't think you was, because everything that I've said is true. I don't need to lie. Look around the world, all the disasters that are happening. The reason why they're happening, and in certain areas why they're happening, is because there's been that's where a lot of heavy manipulation, dark magic has been done, and it needs to all be cleared out because a lot of stuff was buried. So, just saying. And some of these crazy parties that people have, and I've said it before, are they parties or are they rituals? Who knows? But I'm sure somebody does, and I'm sure somebody who needs to know knows. So for me, all I'm saying is I'm speaking my truth as guided to. You may not like it, and that's down to you. And obviously that then suggests that you have some healing to do, and I will send you some healing if that's what you want. But for me, my direction is to speak the truth, and I'm going to speak the truth. And if you don't like it, well, then there's not much I can do about that. Maybe start speaking yours, and maybe that might help with your lineage and your karma, because obviously, like I say, your ancestors, are mortified, absolutely mortified. I can't tell you, I can't give you the feeling that they have. And in some cases when I'm purging and I'm crying, I think I'm actually crying for them, because the pain that they are feeling, yes, they're energy, but they're still they're still part of your lineage. They've still been part of your lineage, and they've done things that really probably they weren't proud of, that they wanted us to clear. And that's the whole point, isn't it? But I guess some people don't see it like that, and that's fair enough. So yeah, I just wanted to sort of put it out there that there is this obsession about trying to put a mask over things that have been done, to hide what's been done. And me personally, I just say surrender, because they already know anyway. Using technology, vibration in my house, and I can feel it a little bit, and the dark divination, moving people in to do light stuff with the curtains closed and all that sort of fancy stuff, paying practitioners and all that sort of stuff. you know, and not, you know, nicking my mail and blocking my phones, blocking me working, you know, all that stuff. I don't really get it, but you know, I'm sure there's a reason why you do that. But all I will say to that is, for every person that doesn't get any support from me, that's more karma for you. And for every block on my YouTube channel, that's more karma for you. And like I say, I don't wish karma on anyone, but if you're causing an injustice, then you are going to get karma for the injustice. So, you know, and that comes from above, not from me. So I would just say, be mindful about your behaviour and what you do, and especially as you're already in it. You know, maybe that's the lesson. Stop what you're doing and change. And try and move forward, so that the next lineage in your family life, it hasn't got as much mess to clear up, maybe. So I think for me, that's a little bit of it today. I have got some cards to do, but I'll do that on the next one. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of like say the pattern. There seems to be a pattern that all people in the collective who are ascending and obviously working to do their light working duties within, you know, their, you know, and on their north node, there's a lot of people that want to stop us doing that, and obviously they want to throw loads of roadblocks in the way to cause disruption, and usually it's a distraction from their own self, really. But also, you know, using technology, using the dark arts and paying practitioners to do things, and you know, and we all know why, for money, clout, you know, whatever it is, I think. But you know, and maybe because people have lied and perjured themselves in the past, you know, I think. I mean, I was supposed to be hidden, and I'll give you a quick one before I go. Past life, from my understanding, past life, there was, you know, I said in the previous one, the divine masculine selected the karmic over his divine counterpart, and that's, you know, there's nothing wrong in that. If that's the choice that you want to make, that's absolutely fine. But it's that thing about, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So by doing that, he then abused, in the past, he then abused the divine connection and the wealth that came with it, and obviously that upset the spiritual realm, because it was an abuse of what they put in place. And then obviously the empress before me, she passed away in a house, I think, because obviously for whatever reason, I don't know. And I think for me, that's what they're trying to create now. But the problem with that is that has closed. The cycle has closed. It's finished. That's why everyone's now in judgment and justice, because the cycle closed. 999, you know, the actual cycle closed. Let me show you. It's not, you know, the world cycle closed, and so obviously there isn't you can't continue on a cycle that is no longer a cycle, if that makes sense. I can't even got it. Oh yeah, here we go. The cycle closed. So now we're in a new cycle. So you can't continue with an old cycle trying to force a narrative because of the past when the cycle closed. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. You can't create an injustice on top of an injustice on top of an injustice. It doesn't work like that. The cycle closed. That was the end of that cycle. 999. We're in a new cycle now. So I think that there's a bit of a confusion there. I'm not quite sure. And obviously, you know, it all comes down to whatever people's priorities are, isn't it? But, you know, hey ho, it is what it is. And I just say stay attuned and stay tapped in. I am going to do some stuff on the bullying and abuse campaign, because I know there's a lot of people that are really interested in coming on some of the workshops, but unfortunately someone deleted the GoFundMe. So I will set up a new one. And hopefully that one will survive, so that we can start getting some support out there to people that you know, desperately need it, especially in these times of where fraud is like one of the highest crime rates in the UK. I'm sure it is around the world. I've got my personal own take on that. I think that all this technology of tapping your phone and all that sort of stuff, you know, it opens up a can of worms, doesn't it? I mean, obviously in the last 4 or 5 years I've had to operate back on the old way of cash. One, to monitor what I'm doing, to clear all the apps out because people were in my system all the time, and just monitor the cash because it was just the easiest way to do it. So I do think there's a little bit of that, you know, that's still a good way to work. But you know, I know that money can be manipulated and fake as well, so just be careful. But I hope that helps. I just wanted to throw a little one out there in terms of, you know, wrapping up for the end of the year, but obviously these things happen. And the other thing that was interesting was I dropped in on somebody on a Thursday, and then 2 days later I get the police banging on my door telling me that people were worried about me because they hadn't seen me yet. They'd seen me 2 days before. And it was all about the mental health scenario again. So you can see the pattern, you see what's going on. So for me, it just clarifies that the people that are doing it are obviously involved in it, you know, and they've done something very egregious, and now they're all panicking. So, but that judgment isn't with me. They have to take that up with the man upstairs himself. You know, that's their stuff to deal with, and that's their stuff to get repentance from, and, you know, and forgiveness for whatever they've done. And hopefully, you know, if they've operated in the dark, maybe they'll find a way back to the light in this lifetime, and if they don't, then maybe they're not meant to. But you know, I do think that it's time now to stop manipulating the system, because like I said before, I've not got mental health. I already did the assessment because someone forced me into a position that I couldn't get out of, and it came back that I don't have it. So I think now it's a time to stop using the system, because the system is there for people that do have it and are desperate to get assessed. You know, why am I a priority above all these people that have been waiting for years? So I think it's time to stop that now, because it's getting a bit, you're making yourself look silly, and it's wasting resources that, you know, are tight anyway. So for me, again, a pattern, you know, let's move on and move forward, and hopefully we pray for our enemies, and we hope that they do find the light, and I'll pray for their souls, that whatever, you know, whatever judgment is passed upon them, you know, all we can do is pray. So and I say thank you to my ancestors and my angels of the purest white light, and God Almighty, and to Jesus, because you know, they are out there in the energy, protecting us all and keeping us all safe. So I'm going to love us and leave you. I'm going to send you love, peace, light, harmony, and healing for all those that need it. And thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later. Bye.